Okay. Hey everyone, my name is Kori Burkholder, founder of Purpose Driven Career Accelerator Program. And today I'm super excited to reconnect with Nikki, who we've been working together since last summer, I think. And she's got a lot of things to share with us, a lot of really great updates. So, Nikki, please introduce yourself, where you're calling in from, and a little bit about yourself.
Hi, thank you, Corey. First of all, very honored that you picked me to do a case study. I know I'm definitely on the younger side, so
Which is
it,
great.
yeah, so I'm very flattered. But yeah, my name is Nikki Phileas. I am 23 years old, and I moved to New York City basically right out of college after a month, basically no plan. And I was like, you know what? I'll just figure it out when I'm there. It can't be that hard, right? I was sorely mistaken, but that's when Kori kind of swooped in and helped me. And ever since, we've done soul searching, we've done rational thinking, and we've also done a lot of exercises that just helps me realize like who I am and how I can apply that to my job, which I did not realize was so important. But now when you think about it, it's an everyday kind of thing, and you want to be able to utilize yourself to the fullest, or else you might not feel great at the end of the day. So all those exercises and all that, I guess, quote unquote training, led me to a really interesting story, which I'm sure I'll be getting into very shortly.
Amazing. Yes. So I think in 2024, spring of 2024, you graduated and you were kind of knew you wanted to move to New York. And so, yeah, what exactly were you struggling with when you reached out for support?
I honestly think that my college didn't do a great job of preparing me for the reality of job searching. They, like, I'm not shaming the career department at all. Like, they helped me with my resume, they helped me pick up some networking skills. But I think many people don't realize how personal the job search is. It's not, it can't be gentrified in a way. Like, they're taking care of 500 students at a time at the Career Center. They can't custom tailor a program to you. And
Mm.
I think because what I want and who I am is more complicated than the average person, I needed the extra helping hand.
So who are you then? Like, give us a little bit about your background and maybe your education, just yeah, high level.
Yeah, okay, so I my original career path was going to be a ski racer. And so
Know that actually.
that's kind of like the bombshell. I'm like, how'd you end up in design? Well, I kind of got burnout and I've always known I like design. So I decided to switch my focus entirely to design and developing my art skills, both fine art, color theory, et cetera, et cetera. So because I went to high school for skiing, I kind of had a quote unquote late start for preparing myself to go to a design college, which was going to be fashion. So I went to Marist College for fashion and then pursued art and fashion and product development when I was there.
Amazing. Yes. I mean, Nikki, you're one of the most ambitious young professionals I've had the pleasure of working with. When she came and I had a conversation, she was like, I'm moving to New York. I think you were in on family vacation in Europe when we talked,
Yeah, my
with your
cousin's
mom.
wedding.
And, it's like, when I get to New York, I want to hit the ground running. And I was just kind of looking back at, what you wanted to achieve in working together. And it was just like, you wanted to feel redirected onto the right path, career searching wise, and many useful materials for your benefit. The dream outcome was to feel well versed in the job searching scene, to feel comfortable assisting, that you felt comfortable assisting your friends, but not yourself so much. So you wanted to walk away with skills to play the fashion industry job searching game, right?
Mhm.
and look at it as a sport. So you're a skier, so you're in the sports, so you wanna know the basics. So yeah, when you got back, you moved into your new apartment, you were getting used to New York City life, and soon after, you were able to land a temp job, is that right?
Yeah, it was a temp job for sweaters,
Mhm.
and that was fun because sweaters are very complicated in terms of making sure you have the right stitch, and what kind of stitch you want, what gauge of needle you want to use, and it was for a more of a fast fashion company, which really taught me the essence of making sure your product is on the more budget friendly side. And so that was kind of, eye opening when it comes to development. It's like it's always about the first cost, like the factory first cost, second cost, third cost, and so on, which definitely prepared me for my full-time job.
Yeah, so we really use that as a ground for growth, right? So you were learning
Hmm.
so much. This was your first job in New York City, having to work in an office, right, or in a creative environment, getting used to working with your manager and team members. So you were really learning a lot, not only about the job itself and learning those skills, but also, right, people skills and how to speak up for yourself, right? Communication. So was there
Hmm.
anything, any soft skills that you remember learning and implementing?
Um, I guess the biggest soft skill I learned was just not to be afraid to like speak for what you want. I was freelance at the time, so I had the flexibility of coming and going when I wanted, and I didn't take advantage of that. I'm just saying that in advance. It's just I had to be comfortable with telling my boss, I had a family vacation planned in the winter. I told her this during the interview and plenty of time before on. Not my favorite thing to do. I don't like telling somebody I can't work because I like working. I like working for what I earn. So that was definitely a soft skill I have developed since, is just, like I said, speaking up for what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, clear communication is always going to be a benefit for any team that you're on. Um, so how did some of the program help you, within that job, within the job search? We did passions, we did skills, we did strengths, we did life purpose, ideal working day. So was there any specific exercise or coaching that you remember that really stood out to you?
I really like the work-life blueprint,
Yeah.
blueprint. I will be transparent. I'm not the best at filling it out, but doing that definitely allowed me to have more of an open mind because my full-time job is in home goods, luxury home goods. It's like napkins, cocktail napkins, napkin rings, barware, etc. Not fashion. And if you were to ask me if I would do this back in October, September, I would have said, hell no, fashion
Mhm.
only. So I think the work-life blueprint, oh my God, blueprint, and a handful of other exercises that just did a lot of soul searching made me realize that I am happy designing as long as I have responsibility, as long as I can use my creative problem solving, and I can be quick on my feet, and there's always something to do.
Yeah.
Like I still love fashion, but as long as I can do that within my everyday job, I think that's what it takes me to be satisfied. I'm always busy. I can be responsible. I can use my creative thinking skills, and so on and so forth. And I think throughout the entire, I guess, course, that was the most valuable piece of information I've learned. It's just what I want in a job and how I can navigate my career path around that. And because I did that at a younger age, I think this will be setting me up for success the rest of my life.
You're so right. I mean, it's something that you know about yourself, and of course you're going to evolve. Maybe your passions change, or you're developing new skills all the time, or your professional strengths, like you're becoming stronger at something. It'll shift, but like you have this deep knowledge about yourself, and this is something that you can always go back to, like when you're feeling maybe something is a little bit off at work now. It's like, let me go back to my blueprint. Let me see, like, are my values being met? And if not, is there something that I can do at work or outside of work? So I love that you said that. Like, this is going to be something useful for you for the rest of your life. So let's talk about this job search. So once you were done with the temp job, because that came to a close, right? That was just they needed you for a certain amount of time, and then you were kind of back out on your own again and into the job search. So you had some tools that we developed, right? So we got your resume redone. We revamped your LinkedIn to reflect, your impact that you've made at the temp job. So how are those tools helpful for you in that next phase?
I think the resume writer is extremely helpful. I learned about the ATS, like AI, sorting program or software that people use. And I've been telling my friends that a lot, and they're like, "Oh my God, like no wonder why I don't get any responses." But that's super, super helpful. People don't really know about that, especially in my age group. So that's been super helpful. Definitely the resume writer and having a standard cover letter definitely helps. Another tool is just this might sound a bit random, but I think the biggest tool I got was clarity when so my temp job ended abruptly. They kind of just said, okay, you're done, like on a
Mm.
random Friday. And I was like, oh, okay. Left my favorite notebook. Still salty about that. Anyways, my biggest tool that I had was clarity. So, of course, when someone just leaves you to your own devices out of nowhere without any warning, it's very anxiety driven, but I had a lot of clarity when it came to job searching again, and I wasn't so stressed out about it. It wasn't eating me from the inside out. So I was able to approach it with like a kinder sense of mind, just less hard on myself. And because of that, I took my time. I read through the job descriptions more. I reached out. I did as lower volume but more meaningful, if that makes sense.
Mm, of course, yeah. Yeah, that's the beauty of having clarity, right? It's like you're not just spraying and praying, and we had been preparing you all the way along because we knew that that was gonna come to the end. So you were armed with your career success stories that you could use in interviews, right?
Hmm.
You had your polished resume, your LinkedIn, so you had all the tools available for you so that you could hit the ground running. So how long did it take for you between the end of that job and landing at your new job with the offer?
I think it was like exactly a month and like 3 or 4 days, which still
Amazing,
shocks me.
amazing, especially in today's market, right? I mean, the big thing is that it could take up to 6 months for, a new job offer. So you were really ahead of the game and on your game to really step into this job search. So yeah, so let's talk about the results that you got working together. So what do you think are the biggest results that you got through this program?
Like I said, my clarity, because that directly affected my personal well-being, like anxiety, being hard on myself, not going stir crazy, essentially.
Huge.
That, yeah, that was the biggest one, I firmly believe, because job searching became enjoyable again.
Mhm.
What's another? I'm trying to pick the ones that really resonated with me.
Mhm.
Self-respect for sure. Taking a step back and realizing that I can do this
Yeah.
and I can apply to these higher end jobs. Um, for context, like I wanted to be in luxury and I didn't quite have the confidence to do so beforehand. But
Mm.
let's see. Being more organized with my thoughts. For example, when I wasn't feeling good that day, I wrote down in my journal about like what was good about that day instead of highlighting the negatives. You know,
Mm.
everyone says journal, journal, journal. And sometimes it's really hard to follow that every single day. So what I did was I just did it on the days where I didn't feel good. And that's what I also took away from this. Um, let's see. Having an open mind, which led me to my full timer that I have right now.
Which is another big result, right?
Yeah, you can say that again.
But I love
Um,
how y you're tying results to the inner game, right? It's doing the inner work. Clarity leads to confidence, and, you have these tools to of course, we're always gonna have days where we wake up and we don't feel really powerful and confident, but it sounds like you've developed the tools, like journaling, to help you move through those times.
yeah, and I think another thing that you taught me was it's like it's okay to take a day off.
Yeah.
And like what I mean by that is I always try to do something productive after work. Either that's working out, working on my art projects. I don't always have to do that. And I'm really tough on myself about it. But you taught me that it's just okay to take it easy here and there. You don't always have to be moving a million miles an hour. That's really unreasonable, actually.
Mm. And you live in New York, and it's tough because there's always things going on around you. So, yeah, that's also protecting yourself and your energy, because if you're, totally stressed out or so busy and tired, you're not going to be showing up, your full self at work where you need to be on, right?
Yeah.
So tell us what's next for you. Like, what are you really excited about? So you've been in this new job since what, a couple months now, or little?
A little under 2 months.
Okay.
April 19th will be 2 months.
So how are you feeling about it? What are you working on? What are you excited about?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not gonna lie, at first it was really stressful. And I think I kind of let the stress take me over a little bit. But once I just kind of like took a deep breath, figured out some other personal things in my life that also contributed to my stress, I feel like I've really been able to like dive like head in to this job. And I am designing stuff for spring summer 26, which is super super fun. Most of my job is product development, but then I really get to study the products and the brand because of that. So it's kind of like setting me up for success unintentionally. That's
Mm.
how I see it. And my boss has also complimented me on my mindset of, you know, I really like being busy. I like having work. I like getting stuff done. That's also a great feeling. And she also said to me that it's really exciting that I'm learning so quickly when it comes to certain things. So ever since I figured out my personal stuff, I've been able to accelerate in my job. Again, with the clarity and the confidence. It's always clarity and confidence. I swear to God, it's always that directly affects whatever you're doing.
Right, right. And you knowing yourself, like your work motivators, right? I like to be busy. I like to do this and that and design, right? So it sounds like you are incorporating that design element, and you are bringing that passion into this role. Like, I mean, I know that you can't show the sketches that you're working on, but they're gorgeous,
Thank you.
and you're getting to use that skill and you're going to be able to build that portfolio and you're learning new skills. And I want to remind you to keep those successes, right? Like weekly, monthly, so that you have that. So when you're ready to ask for the raise because you've made such an impact, you're going to be able to do that, and move up in this role. But for now, I'm super proud of you.
Thank you, Kori. Ah.
Yeah. So anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
Um,
I have actually a question for you. So
yeah, go ahead.
if somebody is thinking about, joining the program, they're kind of on the fence, they're afraid, hey, this isn't going to work for me, or this is a big investment. Um, what would you say to them to kind of
Mm,
get them over that finish line?
I would say I was hesitant at first. I was hesitant at first. It is kind of scary to, you know, put yourself in the hands of somebody else to take care of you pretty much for your career. But I would say that, Kori wouldn't be so successful in where she is now if other people didn't believe in her. You know what I mean? Like, it is worrisome. Like I was in like a very worrisome head of state, mind, whatever. But if you really need someone to, like, not hold your hand, but help you through figuring out who you are, what you want, who you want to be, then it's the best idea, in my humble opinion.
Thank you very much. Well, it's been a pleasure working with you and seeing your growth and where you are now and what you're doing now. You've come so far since, a couple months ago. So it's been a pleasure working with you. Anything you want to share before we wrap up? Anything else?
Um, I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, I have another thing about like if someone's on the fence about joining the program, I wouldn't be where I am 100%. Like I wouldn't have the clarity, I wouldn't have the self-confidence, I wouldn't have, all the tools, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm still working on it. Like I am not the best at writing down my career success stories, but I have Kori in my mind saying, write down your career success stories. I'm like, okay, I'll do it.
Put it
So
in your calendar.
no, I really need to. It's so bad. But yeah, it's just that's like the big step. Then after that, it's baby steps that will 100% help you throughout your next, I guess, game plan in life.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm.
And, if you are watching this right now and you are inspired by Nikki's journey, I encourage you to reach out for a free 15-minute brainstorming call where I can really work out if or how I can help you. And that link is going to be below this video. And I hope to connect with you soon. And for Nikki, um, it's been awesome working with you, and I know that we're gonna stay in touch, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, Kori. Woo!
All right, everyone. Talk to you later.